How we going, folks? Welcome back to the Nightmare Cabin, and I am joined by William Zeldin from Vendée. The uh,
Woo!
the your channel's a little bit of everything, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
film
yeah, it
analysis,
is.
it's music reviews, and I first came across your channel. I think it was for a Mastodon review. Um, it may
I
have been
can't
a
remember which one.
yeah, and then I reached out, and I've been on your channel. Have you been on Nightmare Cabin before? I know I've been on your
Um,
channel.
yeah, we've done. Remember we did the samurai season.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, we did
and
that one. And that
and I
was a
think
good
I came onto
episode.
your channel just for a general chit chat, wasn't it? So yeah,
Yes,
welcome back
yes,
on the channel. And tonight we are going to be going through the back catalogue of Mastodon, just in
yes.
time for their release of the new album, Narrow Deep, at the end of the month. Um, yeah, Mastodon are a band I've meant to be doing a retrospective on. The band of retrospectives that I'm meant to be getting through, it just never goes down. And I seem to be doing them slower and slower nowadays. But yeah, with the events that's transpired within Mastodon, plus the new album coming out, I thought, right, now's the time
Yeah.
to do it. And yeah, where you were doing your series as well, I couldn't think of anyone better to do it with. So yeah, I think this is it's good to do this now as well because this does kind of end an era of the band. So we are basically going forward with the band in uncharted territory. We're in a new era of the band, so I think now's a good
Yeah,
time to.
didn't the driver passed not the driver, the drummer. He passed away, didn't he?
Not the drummer, no, the guitarist and vocalist,
Yeah,
Brent
may he
Hines.
rest in peace, of course.
Yeah, and well, it
That's
was a
pretty
bit of a
tragic,
funny
man.
one because he was fired from the band and he died not even a year later, like months. And yeah, the he well, he kind of bounced straight back with a new band. That's always not a good sign. And he put out some tweets of like, "I'm a free spirit," and they're all tight asses or whatever. And
Right, right,
and then he's like, "Bang, got a new band." I got to form my own band. With blackjacks
right.
and
Classic.
hookers. And and then yeah, like 6 or 7 months went by, and he died in a motorbike accident. So yeah, it is
Yeah.
tragic. It's terrible because I think we all secretly, well, not secretly, we all thought, okay, just set the timer for the reunion. And the band did recently put out a video, which was quite a touching video, where it was all three of them in a screening room, they like rented out a cinema for themselves, watching
Oh,
old
wow.
footage and videos and you know of the band
Yeah.
remembering him, and they sort of said, things got to the point of we couldn't avoid this anymore. We had numerous interventions and whatnot, and yeah, and it's like when we cut, when the decision was made and the news was broke, it's like we always had it in the back of our mind. It eventually
I
will
guess
come.
it's like a
Yeah,
Princess Diana situation, I guess you could say.
yeah, that's one way
Right?
to put it. But they said, yeah, that we always, if we thought that would like shake him you know, into realizing. But yeah, unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. So yeah, but we shall reflect. Um, when did you first get into Mastodon? There's a good place to start, I guess.
Yes, so I was introduced to Mastodon by my buddy Jason, who I do the Irrelevant podcast with.
Yeah.
Um, just released our newest episodes, 63. We did our first in-camera episode, so it's not just audio, it's video too. So if you guys want to check that out, you could just, look on my channel. So he's like a metal rock connoisseur, right? He works at a guitar store. So he knows a lot more bands than I do. Like at that time, I didn't really know past like the surface level, just Metallica, Megadeth, and all that stuff. So he recommended to me the first album we did. and we reviewed it on the channel was Crack the Sky. And
So an odd one
I
to
was
start with. Yeah.
yeah, you would agree, right?
Mm.
Yeah, so we started out with that one, and I just really fell in love with the the like their music is really melodic, you know? Like it is aggressive, like a lot of metal music is, but they just had this way of capturing um like real emotion, and they had a way of making you feel like you're just being taken on an adventure, right? Like a
Absolutely. Yeah.
journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was the first album I listened to. I was very impressed, and then we also reviewed Blood Mountain, which is to this day that's my favorite album of
Yeah.
theirs. And then we did The Hunter, which I also really enjoyed, but not as much as the other two. So those were the only three that I was kind of familiar with until now when I just listened to all of them, right?
Yeah. Brilliant. Okay. All right. This is going to be good. Um, yeah. Let's go for the beginning then of the band. Well, so the band formed in 2000, but there's a bit of past tense. So Brian Daler on drums and Bill Kaliha. I've never said that out loud before. We're both
Hmm.
in a band called
Yeah.
Lethargy, but they also both drummed on for Today's the Day. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
No, I'm not.
So for Relapse Records were always like they were always, well, I guess earache to a point, but then I think when Relapse really established themselves, especially in the late 90s and early 2000s, they really were pushing the boundaries of extreme music. And yeah, Today is the Day kind of started out as a grindcore band, noise, experimental, a whole hodgepodge of just
Hmm. Right.
madness. And yeah, both Bill and Bran played on two Today's the Day albums, I believe.
Okay.
And yeah, you can imagine the drumming is just absolutely mental on well, pretty much all Today's Day albums. And so you got them two were in that, and then you got Brent Hines was in a bunch of other crazy bands, and so it kind of started off with basically like most bands, they you get two members from this band, a member from that band, and you kind of well, we were doing this, but we kind of want to do that, and you kind of just come together, and just what you come up with is what you come up with, And they
Hmm.
actually started out as a five piece. Eric Sainer was the original vocalist. So you had Eric
Okay.
Sainer, Brent Hines, Troy Sanders, Brian Dayler, who I mentioned, and Bill Kaliha. I think that is Kaliha. I can't pronounce that. But
I don't know either.
but- and yeah, they started out as a pretty just a heavy as hell metallic false. Really, they put out one demo in 2000, and then in 2001 they narrowed down to a four piece. So Eric left for I'm not sure why. This is all documented in the band's DVD as well. You actually see footage of them as a five piece. And
Oh yeah.
I think what's quite telling is that none of the four members are actually a vocalist. So I think it was probably a case of what started off as Troy just filling in on vocals until they found someone to the point where they just gave up looking for someone and probably just had the chemistry between the four of them because going we'll go into it as the albums go along, but it kind of starts off with Troy being the main vocalist, especially on the first album. He's the lead vocalist. When we get to the fifth, sixth album, he's not even doing any vocals.
Yeah.
So, backups at best. Um, yeah, the first time I saw them live, he is the main guy at the front, bass vocals, guitarist over him, and he's just roaring into the I went to see them. I've only actually seen them twice, three times, and I've not seen
Where
them
did you
for a
see
long
him?
time either. Um, well, I saw them first at Download Festival, and then I
Okay.
saw them on the Crack the Sky tour, and yeah, and during Crack the Sky, he was just at the back on the bass, hardly at the microphone. Um,
Okay.
until the end of the, they played Crack the Sky in full, and then did a few tracks at the end, and I think he stepped up for them. But so yeah, you got
Well,
a
interestingly enough, you mind if I
no, go ahead,
say
yeah,
something about that? Yeah. Well, I feel bad because I didn't do my homework, right? I mean, I listened to the music, but I don't really know very much about the
that's
background
fine.
of anything.
I'll fill it. I'll fill you in.
But I guess you get the two different perspectives, right? Of the
Yeah.
guy who knows all of it and kind of a guy who's more surface level and what my opinion is. But that explains a little bit why I liked the vocals a lot more on the later albums.
Mhm.
And I did not like the vocals as much in the early albums. So maybe I didn't realize it was a
No,
different
we've got
guy from
two.
the
This is the best perspective I like because I like doing
I
it
could
with,
tell that something was changed, but I
yeah.
didn't know it was two different guys.
When I do some of the older bands with some other guests, I mean, some of the bands I do with Scott Waters, for example, like he was there at the beginning, so he saw it all, and then I'm coming on at the end, like so I'm reviewing everything sort of retrospectively. But I'll remember when this came out, and stuff like that. I
Yeah,
mean, when I was talking about Scott Waters, he's after ones I do with him. It turns out he's gigged with them, so that's always funny. But
yeah,
yeah, so I was pretty much there from the beginning, is what I'm getting around to. So I remember when Remission came out. I remember seeing someone with this on a T-shirt, thinking, "Who the hell are they?" I remember them
looks
playing the
cool.
Underworld, which is a venue in London which holds about 500 people, and and when it is 500 people sold out, it's uncomfortable. Like it is sardine canned 500 people. And yes, I kind of regret not jumping on earlier. I remember seeing there was a DVD compilation of an anniversary concert for Relapse Records. So it was like a 2 day festival. So it's like two DVDs, and every band that plays has got like two, three songs at most. And
Okay.
Mastodon were on one of those, and they did March of the Fire Ants, and that's when I. So I was like, oh, Mastodon, let's check these out. And then they play March of the Fire Ants, and I was like, oh, yeah, yeah, I like this. Didn't quite jump
Yeah,
on board though, and it wasn't until when Leviathan came out, and this when this came out, it was getting rave reviews everywhere, and I think it was what was the Rock Sound magazine, or it might have been Metal Hammer. Either way, it may have been both. Gave it album of the year,
that's a
and
beautiful cover art right
yeah,
there. I
yeah,
really like
that was
that.
the
Yeah.
and
Okay. I see the cases like that.
and then
Yeah.
the special edition with the full artwork comes with a CD-ROM. I'll have you know.
Woo! Nice.
And
Nice.
I bet if you put it in there, it wouldn't even work. But and this is where I sort of went, right, let's just check these out. So I went back and got this, and this was in my
Yeah.
car non-stop for months. And then, is that true? Not, I think they got the album of the year, so that would have must have been in the winter. But when I was aware of them, and I liked Blood and Thunder, but when I was converted was when I saw them at Download Festival. So it must have been later that it must have been that following summer. And they were yeah, I was at Download Festival, and I was like, right, let's check this band out. Let's see what and yeah,
And what was it about them that like what sold you on them, I guess?
it just when seeing them live, it just clicked. Just yeah, it makes sense. I was a little undecided, and I was a little bit. I don't know, if there was a funny style about them. They didn't automatically fall into what was going on at the time, and it's funny that
Yeah,
they're the
I
only
agree.
band from their time that I've actually stuck with. I was saying a similar thing about Seven Dust. They were the only band I got into at school where I started from album one. I got into them around when album two was released, but I went back and bought the first album, but then got the second album. And then pretty much every day since on release day, I've got the new album. And pretty much, yes, I think I saw them at Download, went and got Remission because I did like March of the Fire Ants. Then I listened to this for a couple of weeks, then got Leviathan. And yeah, Blood Mountain, I got on release day. And
Hmm.
I've been there on release day ever since.
Yeah, it's my favorite
Um,
album there. Yep.
yeah, and there was just something about them that wasn't them, and there's just some bits where they're just bone crunchingly heavy to the heaviest of the extremes, so into like
Hmm.
your relapse record. So that's where they come from. Bands like Today's the Day that members have been in. You know,
Yeah.
Relapse Records was putting out all the heaviest grindcore, death metal, a little bit of black metal, mainly, but like metal, what they called it mathcore or whatever it was at the time. But anything just mental, just burnt by the sun. The first like Dillinger Escape Plan broke through Relapse Records, and I think
Right.
it's quite easy to underestimate. No, what's the word? Take for granted, I suppose. When Calculating Infinity came out, that album was like a reset button. It was just like, right, we are in uncharted territory now. What the is this? And then other bands, Botch, I said, Burnt by the Sun. Um, there's these bands with these like odd time signatures, and then like bands like Poison the Well and 18 Visions were coming out with, and that was what would go on to become metalcore. Killswitch Engage were the band that sort of broke with all that. We had Trust Kill Records. It was just a really cool time. Like it was a real creative time, and new scenes were coming out, and new sounds, and new bands, and but through it all,
Yeah.
Mastodon were quite
Yeah.
unique. They were kind of sludgy. They were, kind of stonery in places, but like, but heavy. Not in a case of like death metal, but in like they had like a bit of a crowbar stonery type way. But then they'd come
Yeah.
out with
It's
a
not really death
section,
metal.
yeah, there would just
Um,
be metal and it'd just be melodic. And so March of the Fire Ants,
yeah.
for example. So you've got this opening,
Yeah. Grab your attention, right?
yeah,
Like
and
when
when
I,
those drums kick
yeah.
in, like straight away, Brian Dale stuck out as a drummer. It's like, yeah, this
Yeah.
is, and then dun, it's
I
just.
kind of wish that was the first song on the album, to be quite honest.
Well, we'll get to
Because
that, but
yeah,
then when it gets to that, that's bit, and then it's like, whoa, hold on, this isn't just another band that's just being heavy for the sake of being heavy. There's something to this band, and I remember
yeah,
listening to Remission for the first time when you've got what was this? Number five. Yeah, Oh Nessie. Where
yeah. That was my favorite song on the album. Hmm.
yeah, and that I've always sort of pictured some old, those old sub deep sea diver, with a big brown round with the
Oh, the
dome on the
scuba
front.
divers.
Yeah,
Yeah, like the deep
but
sea. Yeah,
the old ones. I could just see one of them going around and just picturing like this video in my mind of like this deep ocean bed discovering all sorts of Lovecraftian,
yeah. I was gonna say what's so
going through finding
um
some kingdom like this sunk or something like that. And
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
there was always, so even with Remission, you could tell that there was more to them. They weren't just another relapse. Let's just push how heavy we can be. Is
Yeah. And I could tell in that first album and especially in the second album, Leviathan, there was this real sense of like from the music itself, I got a sense of like thalassophobia, like Lovecraftian themes, like you were saying.
yeah,
And what I noticed, like kind of the recurring themes throughout all their albums, is this sense of the beast, right? There's some giant uh beast from like the abyss or from some ethereal realm, which obviously that's a classic metal trope, right? Like slaying
yeah.
the dragon, right?
Every album, most albums won't have like a. Well, some do. It's a loose theme rather than a solid concept. I think
Yeah.
they learn pretty quick. If we just have a solid concept, we kind of lock ourselves in. But if we have like a theme that we can just tie the album to, and it can kind of navigate through it, it's got like a. So it's not fully committed, but yeah, pretty much. So the first four albums are the elements. So Remission's Fire, Leviathan's Water.
Yes, I did kind of
Yeah.
pick up on that. I was going to ask you about that.
Um, So we'll go through it retrospectively. So you've got the first two couple of demos and EPs, and that was you can still find them actually if you do want to seek them out. Um, but they were both put on an album called Call of the Mastodon, and that
Yes.
compiled the two. Well, the first EPs that are worth having as far as the band's concerned, and there was, I think, a song from the Eric era called
Right.
"Call of the Mastodon." They actually re-recorded it for this. This isn't really remarkable, to be honest. It does sound like basically just a bunch of riffs pasted
Yeah,
together.
I was gonna say
Um,
because that was not listed in their technical like
yeah, I'm
discography,
just
so
covering
I
it.
actually didn't even get around to listen to
This
that one.
this came out later on, just once things really started taking off for the band. They just put this together, so that's what the thing is. But I'll just cover it now. Remission is where we're really interested. Um, so there's a thing with the first three albums I always noticed, and it was something that was dropped around Crack the Sky, and I don't know if they did it on purpose, but of the first three albums, it feels like they have an intro track, and regular listeners and especially listeners of Maidencast I have this theory, and they're sick of me here saying it, but I've got to
Okay.
say it for you. I think
All
a
right.
good album should open like a Bond movie. So at the beginning of a Bond
Huh.
movie, you get this little mini movie at the beginning. You have
Right.
this little
Like
thing
a
where there's
Casino Royale.
and
All
there's a
right. Yeah.
chase and a big stunt and a thing and bum 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 bum, and then James Bond gets away.
Yeah. And then
He
Double O
flies away
Seven
or
like
sails
he
away,
comes
and
in.
then the
Yeah. Yeah.
opening credits. Then you get the lush
Yep.
credits with the song and the models and the art and all the rest of it, and then boom, that's when the film actually starts. And it felt like that was the case on these first three albums because both just and then straight into it. There's no introductions, and yeah, opening with Crusher Destroyer. You just get that. You know, and
Yeah.
then just you don't even
Yeah.
get
I
a
was gonna
chance to.
say, I actually would have preferred March of the Fire Ants as the opening
Well, this is
track.
the thing. That's like the icebreaker. There you go. And then bam, 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 bam. That's where the album really starts. And it
Yep.
felt like you got the same with Blood and Thunder. And you kind of get it on Blood Mountain as well with The Wolf is Loose. But
Yes,
The
that is my
Wolf,
favorite opening track of any of their stuff.
well, yeah, it always feels like you get an opener and then we get the album sort of thing. And it does feel like
Yeah.
that on with but the thing is, The Wolf is Loose is actually longer than Crystal Skull, even though Crystal Skull does still have that feeling about it. I just wanted to put that
Oh man,
note out
Sleeping
there.
Giant. That was
Um,
another just banger. I love Sleeping
yeah.
Giant.
So yeah, um, Remission for me, it's a powerful debut. It's kind of my favorite album, but I think it's just because your favorite album, I think, by any band is normally the first album you buy, and it's an
Sometimes,
album
yeah.
that just made the biggest impact on me. I mean, look, it's all broken, and this was in the
Cool
car for
purple color
months.
palette.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's unique.
I'm not saying it's their best album. I'm saying it's just some I've got
Favorite.
a
Yeah.
favorite
Just
soft
preference.
spot
Yeah.
for it. Yeah, and listening to it in preparation for this episode, yeah, I think there's some real gems on here that I mean, put it this way, if they played this in full, I'd go tomorrow. But closing with the yeah, but the first three, four, five songs, it just runs perfectly for me. But yeah, March of the Fire Ants and Old Nessie are definitely standout tracks for me, and I think they're the
Trilobite is a standout for me as
yeah,
well.
and Elephant Man, the closing instrumental.
I
That
was not
again,
expecting that because keep in mind this was the first
yeah.
time I was listening
So
to
when
it.
you
I
listen to
didn't know how to feel about that.
yeah, but it kind of shows there was more to this band, and that's only going to unfold as we go ahead. So yeah, I think it's a good statement of intent, especially when you listen to the compilation of the demos, which is what I was doing before listening to this. It's like right,
Yeah.
listening to that, then listening to Remission, you can tell they've now learnt how to structure a song rather than just right, here's this riff. Now let's go into this riff. It's like they've wrote a load of parts of songs and they've just connected them together. While in Remission, they've actually got real songs.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
as an opening album, like that's it's quite impressive.
yeah. Um, So when was that? That was
Oh 02, I think it was. Let me see.
2002. Yeah, that's right.
Yep,
And
oh
then
02. That's right.
so then we got 2004 Leviathan. Now again, this is Many's. Well, this was their breakthrough album. I remember the video for Blood and Thunder being played all the time on MTV2 and various. Now, I've got to say, this is probably my least favorite album. I'm not saying it's
Really, because
bad by any stretch
I
of the
liked it better than
imagination.
Remission.
Yeah, I don't know. I just prefer either album. The yeah, one before it and the one after it. I don't know why. Not that there's nothing against, nothing bad about it. Just I really like Blood of Thunder, and then it kind of just
You don't like I Am Ahab? I thought that was a great
yeah, but
follow-up to that song.
it's one of those albums. While it's on, it's good, but it's not the first. It's not my go-to for Mastodon. But
Yeah, I didn't feel that way either. I mean, honestly, by the time you got to like let me see the tracks, like past like Sea Beast, I kind of tuned out a little bit. It wasn't as I mean, it was still good. I'm not saying it's bad by any means. It's just I don't feel like there was as much variety as they had with Remission, and the songs just weren't
yeah,
really engaging in the same way.
yeah,
So I agree with you there.
yeah. It's obviously mainly based on Moby Dick by Herman
Yeah,
Melville. I can't remember which member, but one of the members had read Moby Dick while on tour, and he thought, yeah, this would be a good concept for an album.
that's cool,
Um,
man.
yeah, it's funny because when you got a song like "Oh Nessie," it's a shame that thing. They didn't. They could have played a bit more because there's a lot of stuff in Moby Dick where the native Indian member of the crew starts having visions and stuff like that. Like there was a lot of stuff
Right,
they
right.
could go with the album, but it's always like they focus on Ahab, and it's not all entirely about Moby Dick either. You got one, obviously Joseph Merrick is a closing instrumental, which is the follow up to Elephant Man. Joseph Merrick was the Elephant Man,
Mhm.
and I think yeah, Hearts Alive is about um, child abuse in the church. Because you can't have a metal album. They've all, but
Right, right.
yeah. So the first 8 tracks are really the Moby Dick theme. But yeah, I mean, look, they did something right because it broke through for a lot of people. But I don't know. For me, the idea of the album has always been better than the reality of the album for me.
Yeah,
Um,
I can agree with you. I mean, the thing is, like with all these albums, it's just so hard to like even the ones that aren't as good, they're still good, and like the artwork for the album cover, that really does a lot,
oh yeah, that
psychologically.
he's like a fifth member of the band. I'll have to look the guy up. He's done so many good covers for loads of bands.
What's your favorite
In fact,
artwork what's your favorite album in terms of the artwork?
Paul A. Romano is the guy. Um, well, funnily enough, one of my tattoos here is from the Hate Eternal.
Oh, okay.
He done a couple of albums for Hate Eternal, and
Interesting.
yeah, I took one of the when I was getting this sleeve done, I took an album in and just went, I really like that, do that. And he didn't exactly do that, but yeah, that was one bit that he put a theatre mask. Um,
Oh, that's pretty nice.
Funnily enough, Leviathan, I think. Now we've been saying that.
That's
Um,
your favorite cover?
Either that or a mission. Um, yeah, I think I like the layout as well that they have on the back of all the art cover. Like that Mastodon always have the same. It's a nice collection to have every album because they've all kind of had the same format and the
Yeah, and
same.
you line them all up.
Yeah,
Yeah, I bet
like
that
it
looks
all
nice.
feels like a nice part of it. Yeah, everything from Mastodon feels like part of a collection.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I think yeah, the Leviathan one's quite classic. I really likes as well, like that album cover, and then when it expanded out, I'd
Yeah, I
buy,
just love that the
I'd probably buy
circle,
that
right? With
as like a framed piece if it was ever available, maybe.
probably
Uh,
somewhere. You just gotta look hard
yeah,
enough.
I'm sure Paul Romano has like a website or something. But yeah, I do really like Remission as well. So,
Yeah, I like the color palette a lot, you
but
know?
yeah, I think Paul Romano's artwork. I think some of his favorite artwork, my favorite artwork by him, is actually by other bands. But yeah, look him up, and yeah, he's done some cool. But yeah, he is pretty much like a fifth member. I think they pretty much do. I mean, up until recently, speaking of fifth members, Scott Kelly from Neurosis guests on a song and had done to every album up to a point until he recently retired from music following some controversy, which I
Oh,
am
really? Well,
not going to get into because I don't know enough
okay,
about
fair
it.
enough.
Well, I just don't know enough about it to comment fairly.
It's
So
not worth it. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
um, but he basically came out with some stuff and went from now on I quit music.
Okay.
And Neurosis had a couple of years off, and they've only just come back this year with a new album, and basically just said like the wind's blown over now. Like we're not gonna let someone tarnish the whole name of the band, sort of thing, and we're not
Okay.
commenting on it due to respecting the family's privacy, and the band have moved on quite clearly. So yeah, I don't see the point of really drudging it all up again because I don't really know enough about
I
what
mean, I'm
went on.
not even
It
familiar with
was
the
all very
band, so
vague, but
okay.
yeah, up until a point, he has guested. He guests on every album. I'll have to look
Okay.
at when the cut-off point is. But yeah, let's get into Blood Mountain.
My favorite one.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think it's 2006. I'm feeling very old. Um,
20
this,
years, man.
yeah, I remember again listening
20
to
years
this
old.
on my little iPad. It was like a little, and
Yeah.
yeah, I used to listen to like the beginning on the way to work, and then the second half on the way home from work.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Yeah, that's a good way to do
yeah,
it.
let's get into this one then. I mean, I love uh as much as I love, or loved at the time as well, like, the heaviest and most extreme music. I do love my classic rock and classic heavy metal as well. And there was so much of this album that reminded me of Thin Lizzy. Um, that main riff on Crystal Skull, particularly at you know.
Yeah, it was a good one. And
um,
The Wolf is Loose is just that's like my favorite opening of any of the
yeah,
albums. It just
yeah.
really grabs your attention and just every song. Like I just feel like every single song is
It just
great. Like I
it
can't
just
think of
open
anything.
it just
There's no
opens up like
skippable
another
songs.
layer with each song, doesn't it? You got like the Wolf is Loose.
Yeah,
It's just this goes for the throat opener. Then you got the Crystal
Sleeping Giant's
Skull.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, then bang, Sleeping Giant just completely takes you in a completely different direction. What's the one on this where it sort of starts off? It just goes off and then there's no vocals. It's just someone going. I just open.
Yeah, it just feels like really ritualistic,
Yeah.
because this album, I talked about this when I reviewed it with my boy Jason. There's just this really cool, like there's this sense of like I know that they have an album called The Hunter, which to be quite honest, I'm not that big of a fan of The Hunter. I don't really care for it. But this album actually you get the feeling that like you're going on the journey with the hunter, through the snowy mountains, and you have to encounter that, beastly three-headed, that three-headed deer that you see on the
Especially,
cover.
yeah, with like, that Sleeping Giant, that damn, damn, damn,
Down,
damn,
down,
damn, yeah.
down, down, down,
But
down,
then,
down. Yep, that's a good one.
but then, as you get towards the end of the album, so where you're seeing here as well is Brent is stepping forward more as a vocalist. It's like he's
Yeah,
getting more of a melodic voice, and then it feels like that. And Troy's slightly going, yeah. So where Brent started out as a backing vocalist, and Troy was the main, you know, he basically just roared. You can see him slowly switching over. But
yeah,
then,
but
out
maybe
of
that's why I like it the
nowhere,
best.
you've got this Mortal Soil, when it starts off with that boom, 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 boom,
A little
you
different.
know,
Yep.
and then just just explodes into these drums, and then out of nowhere, Brand's doing vocals where he's going like floating, and it's like, where does this come from? I remember the first time I heard it, thinking
Right.
like, yeah, and then so it's like so Brand's doing vocals now, and that just opens up things even more for the next album. Um, but yeah, this one is a crowning achievement for me. Each album's just they're building and building, and yeah, this for me was a peak, and yeah, this is a favorite to this day.
Yeah, I
Um,
would say that one and then the next one, Crack the Sky. Those are my two favorite ones to listen to
yeah,
just casually, or like if I'm in the gym, you know. Whereas the other albums have never really had a way of sticking with me. At least the ones I had listened to. Now that I'm familiar with Remission and Leviathan, I definitely want to go back and re-listen to those. But Crack the Sky, man, like that one just has the most emotion. You know, the Mastodon has such a great way of balancing the different kind of subgenres that they're flirting with, you know, because they're kind of prog metal, and then like you said that they don't neatly fit into any one category. And I think that's really, and I mean, obviously you're a lot older than me. Like, is that really what got people hooked on them? Like, were they
excuse
just
me,
different and new?
yeah.
Yeah,
Um, I'm not that old. Um,
well, you're older than me, right?
you're older than me, and I ain't no spring chicken. Um,
Yeah. Okay,
so,
boomer.
um, yeah. So when this came out, yes, they basically there's in songs like Old Nessie, in songs like this Mortal Soil, there's prog leanings in the band's sound. It was always sort of lurking in the background, and then when you read interviews of the band, Brand Daler's saying like his favorite drummer is Phil Collins. His favorite albums like
Ooh,
are a Yes
okay.
album or a Genesis album. So it was always in the backgrounds somewhere. And then on this album, they just go full prog. Um,
It's
you've
the
got
most prog,
songs.
yeah, I would say.
You've got 12 tracks on an album. This one's got like eight. Oh, it's got seven tracks. You know, and
They're all fairly long, though. I think they're
yeah,
longer than the
exactly.
usual
But
length.
so it's the length of an album, but yeah, only seven tracks. And Brand pretty much, well, it's him and Brent are pretty much neck and neck in terms of the vocals. But
Yep.
it's Brand that's opening the album with Oblivion, in the verses at least.
Another
And
great opening.
yeah, so there's a story going through the lyrics of this one, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to be honest. But stories in concepts albums rarely do. I mean, I've still yet to figure out what the story and the Lamb Lies Down on Broadway actually is. Um, the Wall, when you kind of go through with it for a good chunk, but there's a big chunk of that album where you're just like, what is this album about?
You're talking
But
about Pink Floyd's The
yeah,
Wall?
um,
Yeah, it's been a while since I listened to that one.
but yeah, basically the main. So it's called Crack the Sky, but you know why it's spelt that way?
Jason explained that to me way back, but I forgot.
Yeah,
So enlighten
so
me.
Brand's sister committed suicide when he was a teenager,
Man, I'm
and
sorry. Hear that, you know?
he and her name was Sky. So
Oh, yes. Okay,
crack the
yes, that is
sky,
yeah.
crack the yeah, she used her name. So he's channeled a lot of you know grief
So
into
yeah,
this
that
album.
explains a lot of why they went in a more melancholic emotional direction, and
Yeah,
I really like it because that's my favorite kind of metal, to be
yeah.
quite honest. You
Well,
know,
this is
good
Brand's
prog.
album, but and Emperor of Sand is Troy's album, which we'll get into when we
Okay.
get to that. Yeah, it's like this is the best thing as well because all four members sort of shine equally in terms of songwriting, but every so often one or two, like one will take the lead when it comes to a certain album. So like, where one person just goes, do you know what, I'm out. someone else will, that's fine because I've got ideas, and then
Yeah.
they was always pretty good at dividing the writing up, but they've always put their egos aside when someone's really got something to say or something, they've got something in them. They're like, do
Yeah.
you know what?
Yeah.
You take the lead on this album then. You've got something going. They've always been pretty good at dividing that up. So yeah, this was pretty much Brand's album by the looks of it. So there's a story about someone who's able to astro project. That's
Yeah, I
it.
understood that.
He's
Yeah.
a paraplegic. I think he's like,
Paralyzed
yeah,
from,
paralyzed.
yeah, from
So
neck down.
he's
Yeah.
he learns how to astro project, but apparently there is a umbilical cord that keeps you more or less so you're able to find your way back. But he flies too close to the sun, and the cord snaps or burns away. So now he's
Okay.
lost in oblivion. Get it? Um,
Yes. And that the way that's described from hearing other, because obviously I'm not going to attempt to astral project for
no,
obvious reasons, but from people who have supposedly done it, describe it like that, how it's like a rope, like
yeah,
you climb up and down, allegedly, right? Like I've never experimented with any of this stuff, and I don't recommend anyone do,
no,
right? But obviously it is interesting to like metal has a really special way, I would say, of you know letting people who struggle with like really really serious issues, it has a really beautiful way of them letting their humanity out, because I don't think that, like Metallica, for example. Like a lot of their songs are about addiction, and they're not condoning any of this stuff. That's what a lot of people who are on the outside, I would say, get wrong. I mean, there obviously is metal that does do that, but for bands like, yeah, like Mastodon, um, Tool, uh, Metallica, Gojira, like I really see them talking about this serious stuff as a way of them, like I said, letting their humanity come out, because like a lot
and
of jazz
working
musicians,
through it. Yeah,
yeah, because like a lot of jazz musicians, because remember back in the day, jazz was like oh, that's the devil's music, right?
yeah,
And people and all the critics would say, oh, well, all these jazz musicians, they're hooked on heroin, they're hooked on cocaine. And it's like, yeah, but like I don't really think it's the actual drugs that are influencing the music. I think the music is a way for them to cope against, the struggles that they're having, right?
yeah, yeah. And it metal confronts what a lot of the rest of society wants to or tries to ignore as well.
Oh
That's
yeah.
the yeah. But
Yeah, and obviously I don't listen to it as much as I used to. And it's not like, because I think I've made you aware of this. I'm not as interested in metal anymore, and it's not because I'm like, oh, I renounce metal. I'm no longer listening to metal. That's not it at all. Obviously, there's still a lot of stuff that I really like, but generally speaking, I feel like metal was there for me when I was going through really tough times. I'm not really in those tough times anymore, so it just doesn't really have that kind of appeal to me as it used to. But it's cool to go back and listen to it with new ears.
yeah, yeah. I think you're I think you just tend to listen to what you enjoy. You just if it's good, I'll check it out regardless of what it is. You're not really tied to any subculture,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
which
because
is
I'm
fine.
putting together a list of I'm gonna post it on my channel, just like these are the songs that I'm listening to all the time, and it's like I got classical music, I got like Aztec folk music, I got uh, you know,
Casey and the
I
Sunshine Band.
yeah, or like
Yeah.
metal, got some jazz too, right? Um, not Nickelback. I was gonna say Nickelback, but that's just low hanging fruit as for a joke. Right? And I've never even really listened to Nickelback. I just know that they're the band everyone memes on as the meme band. But yeah, I listen to all kinds of music, right? Because I'm not tied down to any sort of, oh, I don't listen to that kind of music. No, like, because I remember I was hanging out with my buddy at the bar not too long ago, and he was showing me the kind of music that he likes, and obviously I'm not a big fan of it, like punk rock and stuff like that, but I'm like, this is what connects with my friend, and he likes it, so I'm gonna give it a chance, you know. And I had there was another guy who noticed we were kind of metal people, right? So he comes over, starts showing his stuff, and he was showing me some Ghost songs, right? And obviously, Ghost is known as being very blasphemous
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. And he's like, well, I don't, because I let him know that I'm a Christian, right? And he's like, well, then I don't think that you would like Ghost. I'm like, well, to be honest, I've never actually heard their music. So if you want to show me their song, okay, I'll listen to it, you know. But I was
Yeah.
heavily intoxicated, so I don't remember any of the
Um,
music.
I think the main thing against Ghost that I have is to me it just sound like Blue Oyster Cult. I listened to the first album
Oh,
when it
okay.
came out, and I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then the second album I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And since then, they kind of flipped and went more commercial, and they've put out some really good singles, but I've never
Okay.
bothered with the albums. But when I do listen to Ghost, or I don't sit and listen to them, but they're normally playing out somewhere or on the radio or something like that. We listen to a radio like a rock station, um, and I just feel like listening to Blue Oyster Cult. They just put me in the mood.
Oh,
I'm
really?
thinking, if I'm listening to these, I might as well just put the Blue Oyster Cult on. That's my only
It's like,
qualm with them.
yeah, I guess it's like how some people say, like, I don't know when's the last time you watched Interstellar.
I've never seen it.
Okay, well,
Yeah, it's a
so,
Christopher Nolan
but you
film.
know, it's a Christopher Nolan movie that takes place in space,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Right. So a lot of people, when they watch it, they're just like, I don't feel this way. I actually really like the movie, but a lot of the critics are like, yeah, when I watch Interstellar, it just makes me think, yeah, I'd rather be watching 2001: A Space Odyssey, or
All
yeah, I'd rather
right.
be watching Star Wars, right? So
Yeah.
like, so you're saying Ghost is like one of those bands where they make you wish you were listening to something else?
It just makes me. They put me in the mood for Blue Oyster Cult.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just like,
So it's
oh
not even
yeah,
really a
this
dig
sounds like
against
Blue
them.
Oyster
Okay.
Cult. I'm not digging this, and then I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
nah, nah, nah.
Yeah.
And then the song's over. I'm like, I'm gonna put some Blue Oyster Cult on. Like,
Yeah.
not I
Let's put
want to
them
hear
on. Yeah.
more. I want to hear more Ghost. I'm like, no, now I want to hear more Blue Oyster Cult. That's you should hear a band and want to
Okay.
hear more of their songs. They just made me
Yeah.
want to hear more of their songs. Yeah, that's
Okay.
my point with Ghost. But anywho, yeah.
Anywho.
So our main man, he gets umbilical cord, you know, and then this is where it gets weird. Rasputin is doing a thing where he's channeling and speaking to spirits. So
Right.
he goes, "Hello, I'm here. Can you help me? Like, get back to my body, sort of thing."
Yeah.
And
Right.
then I lose it. Yeah, it just goes weird. Um,
It doesn't bother me, to be quite honest.
I could probably,
Um,
I should probably look up the story and follow it properly, but I
yeah,
just,
I need to get more
I've
knowledgeable, acquainted
always
with
just
that.
sort of enjoyed the ride. But like I say, I saw them live on this tour at the Roundhouse in Camden, and afterwards they put out this CD DVD
Oh, that's
from
cool if
that
it's like
tour.
that.
So if you do like
Yeah.
Crack the Sky, pick this up because yeah, they play the album in full, and they have a film telling you the story anyway. There's animated, there's old. They kind of compile like old silent movie footage with artwork and moving animation, and the story like each one's different to the song, and it does tell you the story actually.
Interesting.
And if
Okay,
I
yeah, I would be interested to check that out.
and if I am correct, you do get what was played on the back of the screen. You can just
Okay.
watch that on its own. So you've got the concert, or you can watch the story, like the movie. Yeah,
Oh
just
yeah,
say
that's
Crack the
cool.
Sky the movie. So yeah, pretty sure that's it. Yeah, but yeah, worth picking up. A
Sweet.
perfect companion to this. So at this point, it feels like right. So we've got four albums. One, two, three, four. Obviously, you got your little EPs to begin with, but yeah, four albums. They've worked themselves up to a certain peak,
Right.
similar to the first four Metallica albums. When
Yes,
they
in
work
comparison.
themselves up to a peak with and Justice for All, the next step after Justice for All is to go full prog. Metallica didn't do that. They brought it down to bare essentials and did 12 basic songs, as in verse, chorus, solo, chorus, out.
That was a Black Album,
Black
right?
Album,
That was their
yeah.
fifth album. Yeah, the
And
Black Album's okay.
they did just standard songs, but everything they'd learnt on the way, they'd learnt into writing standard songs. And that's pretty much what Mastodon do with the Hunter. Not exactly the same, but this is
I could see the
so
comparison.
you see we're going bang heavy with the first album. We're going, loosening up a little bit on the second album, completely opening up our sound on the third album, going full prog rock. So from Remission, if Remission is one extreme, Crack Sky is the other extreme.
I would
They've
agree.
got
Yeah.
themselves up to this peak and gone, right, well, we've done a full prog rock album now. The only way to go forward is to do another, it's just to go full prog all the time.
Right.
That's not what they're going to do. So they went, right, back to basics. And that's what The Hunter felt like to me. To me, this album feels like a palate cleanser. Um, what have you got? You got 12 songs. What was it? 11.
Yeah, I mean, thinking about it through my head right now, I honestly can't really remember any of these songs.
13 songs,
Yeah, feels
53
longer.
minutes, and the longest song's just 5.5 minutes. And it feels on. Oh, no, that's okay. Don't do that. Um, I thought I'd stop the recording then, but I hadn't. Thank God.
Oh, okay, we're good.
Right. Yeah. So like, you've got a song like Black Tongue, Curl of the Bow. I killed a man because he kicked my goat. Like it's just, and then blast away
More
with that.
aggressive, yeah.
Letting go, letting go, letting go, and then dun, 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 and then when he just screams, "Now I wanna drink your fucking blood." Like it's just
Yeah, I'm not a
they're
fan of
just
that.
having fun. That's the
Like
best bit
that
of
kind
it.
of Mastodon,
Yeah.
it just doesn't really do
Well,
it
they're
for
not
me in the
being
same way.
serious. That's the thing with it. They're just like, well, let's just say the most metal thing we can think of. And
Yeah,
oh,
I never liked that side of them. But if
oh,
you do, I don't. That's cool. I
Carl of
respect
the
it.
Bow is a good one as well because I think this one comes with a DVD because it does come with a DVD, but it seems to have gone missing for some reason. As I put that, that's annoying. I just noticed that that's gone missing. But I did see one of these had two CDs in for some reason. I wonder if that's in there. No. What the hell happened to that? Oh well, I'll have to. No. All right. Well, this did come with a DVD, which has now gone missing, which is really annoying.
Okay.
I'll
Well,
have
that's
to.
the deluxe edition you got right there.
Yeah. Well, it isn't anymore. Um,
Right.
but it had a different album cover. But
Which I like better than the commercial, like the original one. I don't like. That's like their worst album cover, I think.
well, I thought the album cover, the original album cover, would be on the book, but it ain't.
Huh,
Um,
interesting.
but
So
what's
not
funny
like
with it
Leviathan.
is that in the DVD that accompanies this, Brent is interviewed and he basically got into wood sculpturing. He's like, I like to come out here with and he's got this big tree trunk, and I get my
Okay,
chainsaw and I just, go wherever it takes me, and just
just carve something. Yeah.
he's doing all these
Okay,
sculptures, these wooden sculptures, and some of them look pretty good actually. But yeah,
okay,
the
man.
curl
Would
of
you
the
look
bow
at that?
is the way, yeah, you go with the grain, go with the grain of the wood or something. And he sort of that was a metaphor for life. Like it's the curl of the bow, it's the way of the world, it's the way the cookie crumbles. Is basically what it's saying.
Okay,
And
right.
but yeah, oh, sorry,
The
we good?
title track was pretty
Yeah,
good, actually. I like that song.
yeah. And I just think it's a good, diverse collection of songs. where the band are basically learning. It's like they started again, but like from scratch, but applying what they've learned so far. So like I say, the only other way was to just go full prog and just come up with another big massive concept and a big thing, 10 minute, 15 minute long songs. Well, I was like, no, let's just do 3 minute songs and just rock out again. Let's go back to the beginning, sort of thing. So that is what they're
Yeah.
doing for me on that album. And yeah, and I think it's more of the same on Once More Around the Sun. I think these two albums are pretty much a 1-2 punch.
I prefer Once More Around the Sun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I do. Because I like the longer songs and I like the more, prog heavy influence. Obviously not as prog as some of the other ones, but if I had to pick between those
I
two, I would go
love because obviously
Once More
like,
Around the
there's the
Sun.
artwork,
Yeah,
and
what even
then
is that supposed to
and then
be? I've always
it
wondered
just
that.
goes, it just
Phew. Is that like somebody had like a,
psychedelic, man.
I was gonna say somebody
Um,
had some trip and they just drew what they saw or something?
yeah, I think it's just
Yeah, good thing I don't do any of those kind of
the whole
because I don't
psychedelic
want to be seeing things like that.
artwork. That's doing my head in. Where the hell did that
And it, and it
appear?
like that creature has like the hand, that's a nice little touch. And he's got that little crystal ball or something.
Yeah, it's
It's
kind
just
of
really
similar to what Toll do, the way it all just expands out and it just, the
Tool has like a pretty clear like it's a DMT based artwork, whereas this one I'm not entirely sure where that's coming from.
yeah. I think so I'm just chewing some ice. Um
Okay.
this one I think goes a bit yeah, it goes back to being a bit weird towards the end. I think they'll have a song like the Motherload, with that straightforward single that this time things will work out just fine. That was a good like radio track for them.
Yeah, pretty more access.
And
Like I'd say
then
it's more accessible
and then
to
they
like
can kind of get a bit
mainstream
more
or
experimental as the album goes on. The sort of second half of the album is
Amber
then
City.
Mastodon going a
Yeah,
bit weird and a bit mad again.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so to me, this one is these are the fun albums. I would even argue at some point this might be a good way to get into the band if you were new to them. I would actually say maybe try these out because you do get a little bit of everything on them, and
Okay.
that's probably them a bit at their easiest, like their most accessible. But
Yeah, the Hunter, I mean, it's more accessible, but like if I'm trying to get someone into a band or an artist, like I usually just like to show them whatever my favorite thing is, right? And obviously those are not my most favorite albums. Maybe it's just different because my introduction to them was Crack the Sky, right? Like Oblivion, I knew nothing about this band, and that was the first song I heard. So like to me, that's Mastodon. But
yeah.
obviously you have a different perspective, right?
Oh yeah, like I was,
Mhm.
I'm 4 or 5 albums deep at this point. Um, I remember with this album, kind of like, right, it's not that I don't like the album, but I'd listened to it and went, yeah, Mastodon is still Mastodon. At this point, every album had been different, and every album had been like a new layer to the band. It was like a new level added onto it.
Yeah, it was
And
distinct,
even
each
with
one.
the Hunter, it was still unlike anything they'd done before. It was probably them at the most
Yeah.
accessible, and they kind of took the wackiness and craziness. And I think that, when he said, "I want to drink some blood," and I kicked a man because he killed my goat, whatever it was. I killed a man because he kicked my goat, or something like that. Like their tongues in their cheek, that there's a nod and a wink. And when you saw more interviews with the band, you could tell that they they used a lot of humor to sort of, they didn't take themselves too seriously. So,
Okay.
like, where
Yeah,
we
I'm
had
not
this
familiar because I
big,
haven't looked
deep
really much to the
concept of
behind the
Crack the
scenes.
Sky, it was like, yeah, this is just 13 straightforward songs. Um, but it's like Remission was straightforward songs, but it was just, you know,
Raw and
pounding and
aggressive.
thinging.
Yeah.
This is more like they'd
Maybe
sort
even
of
wackier.
leaned into more like the Pixies or something like that sort of style of the
Yeah, a little campier.
yeah.
And like you said, you could
And
clearly tell when you're listening to this album, even if I'm don't like it as much as the other ones, they're having a blast when
Yeah.
they're doing that, you know.
And with this album, I was a bit right. It's pretty much a second, a part two of the Hunter. Yeah, they go a bit, crazier here and there. They kind of mess around and go a bit wacky towards the end of the album. But I was like, yeah, I'm glad. I like it, but for me, this is just part of the collection, and I'm kind of hoping they don't stay here. Um, now,
Yeah, I
now
mean,
they
like,
move, they do move on, and they did move on. So now, in retrospect, I'm like, yeah, this is okay because it's just another era of the band. You know, it's kind of like with the Rush albums where they went all electronic and like the '80s new wave albums. It's like
but it's funny how like with Metallica, their post Black Album stuff,
the
we don't give them
Metallica
that same treatment,
comparisons end at the first four. Yeah, that was just
right?
my
Because they just
yeah
totally lost it, right?
yeah.
With like Saint Anger
Um,
and I think forget which one, either Load or Reload. I get them confused. One of them I do actually like. I forget which one it is, but
well,
one of them I remember was better than the other.
with Load and Reload, I think um, you've got two albums that would have been one good album. They'd kind of gone commercial on Black Album, where they went straight forward just radio rock on
Yeah,
Load and
and I'm
Reload.
not that much of a. I mean, the
Like
Black Album's got some
bands
quality
like
songs.
Godsmack and stuff like that. Like that they call it divorced dad rock now, don't they? They call it divorced dad
Dad
metal.
rock,
Have you
yeah,
seen that? Yeah, divorced dad.
yes.
All those bands
Divorced dad. It's
are
got to be divorced.
are influenced by Load era Metallica, But it's just people go, oh, with Load, you just don't like it because it's more melodic and it's more. It's like they were always melodic. What are you talking about?
Oh, the Black
Like,
Album is
yeah,
crazy
like
melodic.
what's
Yeah, I
Fade
don't
to
know what
Black,
these
not
people are talking
melodic,
about. Yeah,
Um,
I don't
I,
know,
I, I don't
but
have to rationalize in my mind why Ride the Lightning is good. Ride the Lightning is just good. Loads,
is
you've
that your
got
favorite Metallica?
no, my favorite. Well, it's neck and neck between. Well, Master of Puppets is my favorite metal album. End of. Well,
What about
my fa-
Justice?
my favorite metal albums are neck and neck actually. Master of Puppets and Death Symbolic. It's always them two.
Okay.
Um, but then when you look at Metallica, I think Master of Puppets is the masterpiece, but I've got a massive, massive soft spot for Ride the Lightning. That sometimes I go, is Ride the Lightning actually the best album? I'm getting a little tired of Master of Puppets, but then I listen to
Um,
Orion, and I'm like, no, we're
Orion
back.
is yeah, it
Yeah.
really is just that good
So
because
Ride the
there's
Lightning and
just
Master of Puppets for me. I don't, and Justice for All.
I love Justice. Justice has always been my
The
favorite.
the production's always done it for me. Always sounds crap, but I do like the songs live, and
Yeah, the live versions are actually even better.
yeah, and they did put out an album around the time of one of the anniversaries of And Justice for All. They put out And Justice for All live, so it was a compilation of all different shows. But
Yeah, it was like the best ones of each one. Yeah,
yeah,
that album. I listened
every
to that more than
yeah
the commercial one.
every
Yeah.
song at some point has been done live. So it was basically a compilation of the album in same order, but a
Hmm.
live version.
Yeah.
And that was the one. I haven't got it anymore because I don't have. Basically, I just listen to everything on YouTube from my phone now. I can't put anything
Yeah,
on this.
everybody.
I can't. I used to have a file that I put in the phone,
Mhm.
and I used to play it through an app. Can't do it. Like, there's nothing I can put on this phone. Um,
Damn.
but yeah, that was the. I never used to have Injustice for All. I used to have Injustice for All live on the phone. So yeah, I used to listen to that. Um,
Yeah. Similarly, this is obviously not a metal
we've
band,
totally gone off,
but
but it's good. It's
right.
good. It's
And
fun.
I actually did want to tell you, I was not able to get to the last three, and I
Oh
actually really
really?
want to apologize for that. So
All right.
if we wanted to maybe do a part two, because I have not listened to any of those songs, and I
I'll
really
I'll
apologize.
tell you what. You go listen to these, but I'll give you the rundown then. I'll take the lead from here.
Yeah, if you want to,
Um,
yeah, continue
and
the
yeah,
episode.
I'll get you. This is your exclusive. You get the retrospective first, and then if you want to come back and do a part two, you can. But
Yeah,
in the meantime, listen to these because you want to listen to the new album as well with a bit of context. Right. So
sure.
here we go. These two albums are a bit more commercial, not commercial, a bit more accessible, a bit more
Mainstream.
easier
Yeah,
to go. Now, remember I said we're going in 4 album cycles here, yeah? So, right, we're having fun, Mastodon, yeah? Then things take a turn. We get a new concept album.
yeah, I
Now,
could
this
tell right
one
from the get-go the
is
look.
Troy's album, and
Okay.
this was his wife had got cancer.
Mm,
As far as I'm
man,
aware, she's still alive and she recovered, and it's all good. Thanks be to God. And
yeah, it's great.
but this was his time. Yeah, he felt I don't know, like it's the Emperor of Sand. It's someone going through the desert and encountering different characters and going through different challenges whilst wandering through a desert, basically. And this is a metaphor for he's not going through the cancer, but he's going through trying to hold things together for the person who's going through the cancer. And I think this happens to a
Right.
lot of people when you have a loved one going through something like that. It's like you're going through stuff, you're trying to be strong, be their pillar, but
Yeah.
you're going through stuff as well, but you can't really acknowledge that because, well, look at what they're going through. I'm not going through that, but yeah, I think your mind goes in a lot of, obviously when someone's ill and there's a lot of sleep deprivation because you're taking care of someone, and I
Yeah,
bet
it takes a toll. Yeah.
yeah, and so I think the mind goes in a lot of weird places, and I think he kind of channeled into that a little bit. There was another, I'm not too sure of the narrative of it because again, I just put it on and it's just like crack
Well,
the.
I mean,
I think you'd like this one because I think this is actually the real sort of follow up to Crack the Sky.
yeah, I was gonna
Um,
say like the way you're kind of breaking it down, it seems like I would really like that. And the way you were describing it with the concept, right, and the sort of the central figure, right? There's always this sense I get with the albums, like the first four albums that like there's this real Odyssey quality, right?
yeah.
Like you've really gone somewhere and you came back to tell the tale, you know? That's what I've always really liked about their songs and just them as a band. So it looks like that's probably going to be the same thing, right? Or a similar experience at least.
Well, yeah, and not only that, I think with with an album like Crack the Sky, you you know you need to set some time aside, and you're gonna go, no, I'm gonna listen to that album in full because that is one piece of music, like all the classic concept
Yeah,
albums are, I guess,
Blood
to a
Mountain,
point.
I can more put that on just whenever,
Yeah,
you
and
know.
this is that same sort of thing. You really got to listen to it as one piece, and it all connects brilliantly.
Okay.
But then you've still got accessible songs that like they've again, Mastodon have always taken with them what there's always a little bit of experimentation, but what doesn't quite work gets dropped, and what does work they take with them.
Yeah, they're like a process.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so a song like "Show Yourself," for example, could easily have fit on one of these two albums. You
Okay.
know, and yeah, there's some great stuff on this one as well. Um, Roots Remain, Andromeda is a good one, but
Yeah, the names I was
this
gonna
real
say they are interesting in and of
this
themselves.
goes in different places, and yeah, this is, and I was really glad as well. It was like when I saw that album cover, when I saw that there was Bran had channeled his grief on Crack the Sky. Troy was just like, my wife's been battling cancer. We've all been going through it last couple of years. And I sort of said to the band, I've got this, I need to get stuff out. The band just
Yeah.
stepped back and went, you do what you got to do. You take the lead on this album. And it was great to see Troy back, like, I was like, he was the main vocalist at the beginning of the band. Like, I remember you was at the forefront, you know. So it
Yeah.
was good to see him sort of take the forefront again. So yeah, I enjoyed that period, but was glad it was over, and I was glad like we're getting back to the first four albums as such, where we're getting heavy concepts and you know. So yeah, it was good to see. Um, so yeah, like I say, we're starting with the Hunter. We've started from scratch again. Build it on
Okay.
it. What was that? Build again. Heavy concept. Right, we're growing again now. Right now, things get a bit weird. Um, we get an EP called Cold Dark Place, which you can't even see the artwork. Let's take it out of there. You see that?
Right.
No.
Yes, I could see that there.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Hmm.
better on my screen anyway. And
Yeah,
that's
I'm
just
trying
an
to pull them
EP.
up here on my phone so I could see. Yeah, okay, I see it.
Nothing too thingy. Just four unreleased songs. I don't know if they were cut-offs of the Emperor of the Sand sessions. Just quickly look it up. Someone else might be able to give me a bit more. Cold Dark Place. Yes, this was released. Oh, this was released the same year. So yeah, Emperor of the Sand was in 2017. This
2017, yeah.
this was also 2017. Tracks one, two, and four are taken from the Once More Around the Sun sessions, and track
Oh, okay.
three was from the Emperor of Sand sessions. So there you go. Um, yeah, just some leftovers that didn't fit on the album, but don't let this fool you. This is worth getting.
It's
This
not
is
just
some,
like tacked on. It's actually
no,
worth. Okay.
yeah, and they're a little bit. The theme to the artwork as well sums it up, the atmosphere of it quite well. Yeah, this is a cool EP to get, so I was glad to get
Okay.
that.
I'll check that one out as well.
And then we have a compilation. Let me just get my timeline right here. Um, and then in 2020, we get medium, medium rarities. Did you get that? Um,
Um,
medium rare.
yes, I see that
Yeah.
one here.
And
The
yeah, this is
Torch
just
of
a
Lady Liberty.
compilation of odds and sods up until that time. So B sides, stuff that was on compilations, basically anything the band had released that wasn't on the albums up to this point. There's a minute and a half song of that which was featured on Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Don't know if you ever saw that.
No, I've
Um,
not.
it was a what are they called? Is it Bad Robot or something like that? Um, the company do loads of animated shows and they're all weird and wacky. Yeah, live tracks, like I say, B sides. There's a good Butthole Surfers cover on here. Oh, Flaming Lips cover as well. That's actually really good. Um, you know when bands do splits, like split EP with another band.
No, I actually don't know that.
You never heard that? Right. So when a band, let's see if I've
No,
got
keep
one
in
here.
mind I'm not like as into it, so there's a lot of terminology and whatnot that is a little foreign to me.
Right. Let me see if I've got one handy. Um,
Did you
and
find
we're
it?
back, and you don't know what happened. So yeah,
I don't. Fill me
back to
in.
splits. Yeah, here we go. So this is Unite and December. If you can kind of see that there. Yeah, Unite have got four songs on, and then you got another four songs from December, and then there's another one here, two UK bands. Well, that's kind of dusty. Yeah, Knuckle Dust and Unite, Spin It
Okay.
Round, four songs each.
Oh, it's
Just
just like a collab essentially.
yeah, it's just basically a lot of bands do it. Well, a lot of bands did do it at the beginning of their career, really, because like you're you're putting out your first EP, your first demo. Yeah, well, let's put out one each, and then like it's double promotion, it's a bit of cross pollination because
Hmm.
people fans of your band will buy it, and then they'll hear my band, and then fans of my band will buy it, and they'll get to hear you. Normally what would happen as well, you if you put out a split, you do some shows together as well to. So yeah, Mastodon did a couple of those in the early days, and
Okay.
so it'd be like the songs that they would put on. So yeah, basically anything Mastodon had put out that wasn't on any of these albums that we've mentioned so far, it's
They
just
just
collected
put
here.
everything on
Yeah.
an album.
Um,
Okay.
One thing that's cool, the song White Walker, as in Game of Thrones.
Right.
That was an instrumental, which they did put out as like a picture disc, like a vinyl picture disc. Um, but yeah, it's good to see that that's on it. You got Orion by Metallica, which you mentioned earlier, a cover of that.
Yeah, I saw that on the
Um,
track list. I was gonna ask if that was the same Orion.
yeah,
Ooh, I see they have a live version of Capillary and Crest. I would
there's live
definitely want to check that out.
versions, the instrumental versions as well. I don't get quite what you're getting a lot of this now. The B side of a song is just an instrumental of it.
I like
What
the
you
instrumentals because sometimes the vocals are a little bit too much for me.
Well, I'm
Um,
seeing a lot of that albums now. You're getting like an instrumental version of an album, and like you're seeing bands like on Bandcamp, like their whole back catalogue. There's
well,
an
with
album
Mastodon, it
and
makes
then an
sense though.
instrumental of the
But
yeah.
don't you think with Mastodon, they're actually justified in making an instrumental album because the instrumentals are really that good. I would argue.
Yeah, okay. So well, you that's again. So you got two sort of stopgap releases, basically.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but both worth getting, but probably not. Yeah, if you're a Mastodon band fan that's like a completist, then yeah, definitely get them. But if you're just sticking to the main albums, then yeah, come to those sort of last. Really,
and
they're
then
not they're nice fillers, but worthy fillers. And then yeah, we're coming up to present day ish.
yeah, it's the last one before the new one, right?
Last one before the new one. Yeah, I'm just gonna check when did this come out? 2000. So yeah, 2020. That
Looks
compilation
like
came out.
2021 on my end.
Yeah, you're right. So this must have been
Yeah.
roughly around the time the lockdowns were happening.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was during COVID
Yeah.
time, it looks like.
Um,
Yeah.
and I think it kind of got a lot of people, I think, forget about this album. Yeah, because everything that was going on, it kind of got sidetracked, which is a shame
Sadly.
because I think this is actually Mastodon's later day masterpiece, and I feel we've gone in two cycles, two four album cycles. And
Okay.
just like with Remission to thing, and then the peak with Crack the Sky, I feel we've built to another peak with this. I don't know if this is a concept album or not, but it is a double album. Um, yeah, this is a hour and 26 minutes of music. There's nothing
Yeah, their
missing.
albums usually clock in at around 40 something to 50 something minutes.
Yeah,
So it's
what's it called? I'm drawing a blank now. Blood Mountain. God's sake. I was going to call it Crystal Skull, and I was like, no, that's not right.
Chris,
Blood
no,
Mountain
we're
is
not talking
just
about
over.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, Blood Mountain just goes over an hour, I think. Um, but
Right.
yeah, that was long for Mastodon standards. But I'm just checking if is this Scott. Yeah, I think this is
Yeah,
the first
retroactively,
one.
I think that's why I like that one a little more. Because like I said, I like the longer songs with the different segments and whatnot.
Yeah, Scott. So Emperor of the Sun, Emperor of Sand. Don't know why I keep calling it Emperor of the Sun. Um, Emperor of
That would be
Sand.
the Ra from Egypt, yeah.
Yeah,
The Sun King. Yeah.
that is the last album that Scott Kelly guested on.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, Hushed and Grim. Like I say, you've got how many songs? Only 15 songs, funny enough, and it's not that many long ones. I mean, yeah, it's generally around the 5 minute mark. I mean, some Mastodon can kind of just go for the throat sometimes, do like a 2.5 minute one. But yeah, you're getting a couple of 6 and 7 minute albums, 6 or 7 minute songs on this, so it does all add up to an hour and 26 minutes worth of music. Like I say, I can't quite remember if this was a concept or not. Oh, see
Well, the
the
artwork is still very interesting.
yeah, but you see it's all artwork from previous albums. So you had the Rasputin connection, you got the Emperor of Sand.
Emperor Sand, yeah, with
Yeah.
the
So you got
things
all
going up there. The
there's like
wolf.
echoes to the past albums. There's
And there's no color, like it's kind of grayscaled with like a sort
yeah, I
of
think that's
bluish gray.
yeah, that's pretty
And
cool.
is the album like, ooh, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, this is. I don't know if it's a concept album as such, but it will have a theme. But yeah, I've listened to this because I was really like, God, I really want to get back into this because I remember really liking it at the time, but not remembering much about it. And then putting it on, I'm going, oh yeah, I remember every song. And then
Yeah, that was me with Blood
and then
Mountain, Crack the Sky.
yeah, and then and then I made a point of listening to it again yesterday. And oh mate, there's some terrific songs on this. Um, and
What are the
it's
standout tracks, would you say?
Tear Drinker, um, Peace and Tranquility, I think is a good one. Savage Land. I'll tell you what, the last three tracks, Gobblers of Dregs, Eyes of Serpents, and Gigantium. At that point, I was kind of looking at the clock, going, right, how far into this are we? And I'm like,
Okay.
and it's like 6 minutes, 6 minutes, 8 minutes. It's like, okay, we've got this far. Right, let's just finish this off. But it's not that they're bad, but it was just like, right, it's been an hour and a half now. Can we
Just
wrap it?
trudges a
Let's
little
start
bit.
wrapping it up, guys. But apart from that,
Okay.
it's pretty more than I can chew. Great song. That's a real melancholic um track. The is that the one to my detriment? That one. I can't remember if
So
that's
the
the one.
stuff I like about Mastodon is on this album, right? Like the more melancholy
But
kind
more than
of
I can chew is a great
concept.
one, but there's another one. Um, put a tight, oh, mate.
Savage Lands. I'm just reading the from the list of
Is
the
it
songs here.
Teardrinker? No, there's a one. The chorus is to my detriment, but I can't remember which one. It might be Peace and Tranquility. I can't remember now. The songs are coming all back to me, but either way, man, this although it is an hour and 26 minutes, it's an effortless listen. This album just plays itself. Um, like I say, if you're gonna sit in one sitting, the last two, three tracks, it does kind of like, well, okay, come on now. But
Okay.
just listen to it a disc at a time. Yeah, you got 8 songs on disc one and then 7 songs on disc two. But yeah, this is the second peak. So with the compilation of the early EPs and the two sort of stopgap releases, um, you've got 8 albums basically, but each one is levels of 4 that work into a peak, which I thought was quite symbolic of. So we got Crack the Sky is the end of Mark like era one. This is the mark
Yeah,
of
I can
era
see that.
two, and it's the end of an era because it's the last one to feature the original 4 members. The band have kind of carried on as a 3 piece per se, but they've now released details of the new album, and they're a 5 piece now. And
Okay. So I'd be
when
interested
you
to
you
see
go
where they're
on
gonna go. Yeah.
Metal Archives, you click on these guys' profiles, and like, no, they are members of Mastodon. This isn't guest session or anything like that. So you've now got Nick Johnston on guitars and vocals, and you've now got, I'm not sure how you pronounce this guy's name, uh, Joao, and the A's got a little squiggly line on top.
Oh, that's Joao. That's
Joao, right?
Portuguese.
He's from Brazil, yeah, so that makes sense.
That means John. Yeah.
Right, so Joao
Joao. Yeah.
Nogueira, I think it is Nogueira. Oh, yeah, sorry if I'm putting
Nogueira. I think it's how's it spelled?
Nogueira.
So that would be Joao Nogueira.
There you go. Um,
You're like, whatever that
yeah.
is.
Well, at least you pronounced it right. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
he's on keyboards. So yeah, you've got a Brazilian keyboard player and a Canadian vocalist and guitarist joining the band. When the band themselves are from Atlanta, Georgia. So you've got these two
Oh
new.
man, my favorite place in my country. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So I don't know one way or the other. So, but yeah, you've got they're now a 5 piece. That I thought maybe the wise thing might have been done was to release the album as a 3 piece,
To see whatever
and
that would be,
yeah,
right? But
and then etch new people in maybe a
are
live
you
band or whatever.
optimistic for
But
this new one?
no,
Or
that yeah, even on the Mastodon, go on the Metal Archives page. There's a band photo. There's 5 of them now.
Right.
So yeah, like I say, coming full circle to what we were discussing at the end of the at the beginning of the video. Yeah, we're like I say, we are in a new era of the band now, and uncharted territory, so to speak. So
But are
I'm
you
glad I've done
optimistic
this
for the
recap.
future?
I am
Or
optimistic. Yeah.
okay, yeah,
Um,
because I have no idea what to expect because I don't follow this stuff as much
there's
as
not been a
you, but
car crash though. I mean, there may have been a car crash personally amongst the band members, but
yeah,
you know, whatever problems there was with Brent, like it didn't affect the quality of the music, mate. You know, apparently the quality of the live performances was starting to be unpredictable, shall we say? But
right.
um, but you know, it's it's tragic that he's no longer with us. But the
Yeah, it
guy did
really
leave
is. May he
behind
rest in peace.
a solid, you know, a body of work behind him and a fantastic legacy. And
Yeah.
you know, there's always going to be people now that will go the Brent Hines era of the band. You know, he um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's yeah, we'll just have to watch this space going forward. I'm optimistic because well, it's the other three members of the band. It's not, they're not going to make a bad album, but it's going to be Mastodon, but not as we know it. You know,
So yeah, like I
Brent
said,
Hines
I
was
have
a
no idea what to expect.
he was a big
So
presence
yeah,
on all of the albums, and of course he was one of the forefront of the vocalists. You know, so
right, right.
and he evolved a lot as a vocalist as the albums went on. You know, but and he was a big personality. You know, so yeah, it's going to be a different Mastodon, so to speak, but it's like you know, different eras of the band of any band. You know, it's just this particular lineup lasted quite a long time. Um, but yeah, it's like you know when Genesis lost a member, I suppose it's gonna they're gonna take on a new form, and I think the best thing to do is listen to this album on its own merits and just keep you know take it from there really. But I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to listening to it.
Yeah, I am too. It was really fun to go back and listen to them because it had been a little bit. And yeah, their music just has a way of, like I talked about, uh, balancing all these different kind of genres. And sometimes they kind of switch genres mid-song,
Yeah.
and it never feels out of place. They always have a very cohesive identity. Yeah, and they still still to this day, I would consider them one of my favorite bands. Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome to hear. So yeah, no, definitely check out those later albums though, man. I hope I
Yeah, like I said, I
inspired you
apologize for
to
not getting to that
don't worry
because
about it. But
okay.
no worries.
Yeah, maybe we
Uh,
gotta do the part two. Maybe they'll be
yeah,
my favorite albums. I don't know.
well, when you come back and review the new album, maybe you can give us a bit of insight then. So yeah, that will be part two
Okay.
stroke narrow deep review. Um, yeah, come back on, man. I really want to yeah, I want
Um,
to review the
I
new album with you.
I do have a question for you.
Yeah,
Um, would you be interested in reviewing like an album of classical music that I really like?
yeah.
Okay, I don't know how into classical music you are, um, but I did one with Jason, and obviously that's not his favorite genre of music, but he gave his honest thoughts and he said it was a good experience.
I've just never, you know, I know the I'll be able to like if you played me whatever, I'll go, oh, I know this one. This is the one that goes, you
Dun,
know,
dun,
whatever.
dun, dun, dun,
And
dun,
it's
dun.
normally,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
it's scores from films or just scores, you know. But so I couldn't tell the, you know, oh, I know what that is. I wouldn't be able to say, oh, that's Beethoven or that's Wagner or something like that. But
Oh, I got you.
I'm not as quite as
Well,
encyclopedic as I am with metal. But yeah,
so we're the
in
opposites, I
fact,
guess. Yeah.
I would probably say. I'd like to get into classical music, but wouldn't know where to start. What do you buy? Because Beethoven doesn't have
Yeah.
like an album. That's Beethoven's third album.
His third out. Yeah.
Yeah, like
That,
it's a
yeah.
different.
So, so
Do
sadly,
people?
that's, I'm sorry, we're
Sorry,
talking over each
do
other.
people argue over like, oh, this orchestra plays it better than that orchestra or something like that? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because, there's certain iterations of songs, like because you know how every song has to be in a tempo, right? So
Yeah.
sometimes, um, like let's say the London Symphony Orchestra, they'll play these pieces in a faster tempo or a slower tempo or something like that. And sometimes that could make or break it for me. Sometimes people do like you're familiar with concertos, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I love a packet of concertos when I'm having a beer.
Yes. So
Um,
concertos, obviously, like for example, Bach, uh, he wrote concertos primarily for harpsichord, right?
right.
But there is also organ renditions of those harpsichords. There, he has violin concertos. So some of them I think actually sound better when they're on piano, let's say, as opposed to the harpsichord, because the harpsichord, obviously, there's no sustain pedal. So some of the melodies that are being played just don't quite have that same resonance as when you have like the piano that glows. You can sustain the notes, you know. But yeah, I would say kind of what you were talking about. The biggest turnoff, I would say, for classical music for a lot of people, and what inhibits people from really getting into it, is that people. It's so hard to remember what any of the songs are because all of the songs names are just like concerto in D major,
Yeah,
BMV
it's
one two.
Beethoven number
It's
five played in D. All
yeah.
right,
So
yeah,
if you're not if you don't have a sort of base level knowledge of how the music works, like what's the vocabulary, in what context are these things played, that's what gets people like, yeah, I don't really feel like learning any of that. But I would say the best and the most accessible classical music, most accessible composer I would say is Bach, because actually a lot of metal is derived from Bach. You know,
right,
which I'm sure you knew that, right?
probably. I know they say if all the classical musicians existed today or were alive today,
Mm-hmm.
they probably would be playing metal. Apparently, metal is the closest to classical music. I like, you know.
Yeah, definitely Bach, because Bach has this really dark, brooding tone to him. You know, like the famous. It's called Toccata and Fugue in D minor, and that doesn't ring a bell. But when I sing the
Of
right, you
course,
think,
yeah,
oh, that's
yeah,
the vampire music, right?
yeah,
Yeah. So you
yeah,
see, he has this certain dark atmosphere that is very akin to metal, right? Because you
yeah.
think, well, where did metal get it from, right?
Did
A
he
lot of the
also do
early,
the Prelude to Madness?
no, that's actually the name of that song is "In the Hall of the Mountain King." That is by Norwegian.
Sabotage. Yeah.
Oh, well, they probably did a version of, yeah, an
Yeah,
iteration
yeah.
of that. But
Yeah.
the original song is "In the Hall of the Mountain King" by Norwegian composer Edvard Edvard Grieg, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Um,
Check out that album,
that's a good one
Whole
too.
of the Mountain King by Sabotage, because
Okay,
they
sweet.
do Prelude to Madness, like a metal version, and then they go
Right,
into
right.
the title track of Whole of the Mountain King. So,
Yeah, a lot of
and
that
Sabotage,
music
this
translates well
whole
to electric guitar, you know?
classic, yeah, they tried doing like operas and like metal operas or whatever they're called, rock operas, and the Sabotage side project, which went on to be a much bigger project, was Trans-Siberian Orchestra. You
Oh,
heard of them?
yeah.
Trans-Siberian
I've
Orchestra
heard the name, but I've
started
never.
out as a side project of Sabotage, but their side
Okay,
project started selling out arenas and still
really
sells out arenas all over the world. Um,
nice, nice.
well, the main project was just like a metal band. But yeah, no, I'd definitely be up for that. I'd like to sharpen my teeth on that subject really because I don't really know enough about it and never really had a way in, you know. But
Yeah, I guess I
yeah,
can be the shaman that leads you on the
yeah,
spiritual journey.
yeah, cool. Right, so thanks for
Yeah,
coming
here's your
on.
ayahuasca, Joe.
Yeah, thanks for going through the catalog with me. I'll run down our favorites quickly then. I think we can both agree our favorite album is Blood Mountain.
That's my favorite. Yeah,
Yeah, and then I would say Crack the Sky. Um, second. And then I would say dive ahead as well and check out what's it called? Hushed and Grim. That's He's a
The
good channel.
latest one
Yeah. That
to yeah to
and again, I think the time that this is released kind of overshadowed that this should have had a bigger impact on the metal world.
okay. I
Um,
believe you.
so and obviously with the with everything that's surrounding the new album, that's obviously going to be a big thing as well. So I think this is going to
Yeah.
be the underrated one going forward.
Okay.
But yeah, this is a
Sweet.
fantastic. So anyway, man, tell us about your channel. You have just done a whole series analyzing all of the Harry Potter films one by one. You've just finished the series, and now you're starting Star Wars.
Yes. So for Harry Potter, I just kind of analyze the symbology, the themes, and all that kind of stuff. Similar to like if people who watch this channel might be familiar with like Jay Dyer's content, right? Like his esoteric Hollywood, Jay's analysis, right? Where it's like a
Yeah,
lecture style series. Obviously, I tried to not make it too derivative of him. I really tried to craft my own take, but that's kind of really the artistic direction I go in. And so for Star Wars, I just released my first video in the series where I talk about Episode 4, and I make the case that I believe Star Wars, it's really mythological America, right? In the way that Lord of the Rings is mythological British Isles. Um,
yeah,
that's the case I make, right? Because
yeah.
it
I
touches
could
upon the
see that.
different spheres of American culture and society, and kind of blends it all together, mixes it with Eastern religion and whatnot. Yeah, so if you guys, I'd be more than happy if you guys checked it out. Yeah,
Yeah, so check that out, guys. I mean, and he's got a whole host of fantastic videos. You
thank you,
review
thank you.
movies, albums. You do a little bit of theological debate, and you got a little
Sometimes,
bit of
yeah.
everything on your channel, really. Do you do book reviews as well? Have you done book reviews?
Yeah, I reviewed the book Silence,
Yeah.
that
Oh,
the movie is based off of.
oh,
Yeah.
right, brilliant. That's on my to read list actually, so I might jump ahead with
It's an
that and
excellent,
go.
excellent book, even better than the movie, actually.
Yeah.
And I like the movie. I'm not, I know a
Yeah.
lot of
So
people in our camp don't like it, but I do.
yeah, so yeah, movies, films, art in general. Check out,
Everything. Yep.
yeah, because that's what I did, and I reached out and now we're friends. So it's all good.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're going to come back on soon. Who knows? I might come on yours soon, and
Yeah.
we'll go from there. So thanks for watching, everyone. Check out William's channel. His link to his channel is in the comments, not in the comments, in the description. Go
Description. Yeah.
check it out. And yeah, give us one of them. It doesn't cost anything. And I'll see you
It
all next
does,
time.
it does a lot of help too. Just that
Yeah,
one more like, will reach out to this many more people.
exactly. Every little helps.
Yeah.
So that's all, folks.
Yeah.
Take care for now.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me on.